Yes, there's been no shortage of discussion on the back of that 16-10 loss for New South Wales on their home patch. They now need to, of course, win in Perth to force a decider at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. All the discussion now, less than 2 weeks out, Michael, is about who Freddie will pick in less than a week's time for Game 2. Latrell's back in Australia. He's had to overcome the hamstring issues. He's had to overcome COVID, but he won't be playing in his one and only chance to impress Thursday night against the Dragons.
No, if Freddie's going to pick him, he's going to pick him without football for 10 weeks, which... Oh, he'll be a brave man to do that. Look, yeah, South Sydney have ruled him out this week for that game against the Dragons, and part of me feels as though South Sydney didn't want to give Freddie the chance to pick Latrell, given they've invested so much in Latrell, both on the field and off the field, with his trip to the US there, and they're eyeing a run in the finals, and they need a fit and firing Latrell Mitchell, and to risk him in Origin without having played for 10 weeks or even a game under his belt, in just 10 weeks, it's too big of a risk for South Sydney. So don't expect Latrell to be there. The other one, the question marks have been around whether Josh Addo-Carr comes back into the team, whether Daniel Tupou wants to make himself ineligible to play for Tonga instead of New South Wales. But Freddie came out yesterday and said he's spoken to Daniel Tupou, and Daniel Tupou, he wants to play for New South Wales. So it'll be interesting to see. Josh Addo-Carr today obviously put a strong case forward, 3 tries for the Bulldogs today. Obviously a bit of speed that New South Wales lacked last week, but as Gus said, the game was tight, could have went either way. I don't know if Freddie panics. And the one change that, from my observations, Queensland with Ben Hunt and Harry Grant, they sort of, that combination there off the bench coming and in tandem working together there, it felt like New South Wales may have benefited from having Addo-Carr. Do you feel that is something that New South Wales may look at doing, given that Stephen Crichton, he came on for an injury in the end?
Brad loves Reece Robson too. He's a big fan of Cowboys hooker.
Tony Staggs will be out, won't he? Is he out?
Well, no, he's not guaranteed to be out, Tony Staggs.
Well, if he's out, he may or may not be out. I mean, he came off injured the other night, so we don't know. But, I mean, if he's out, you'd think that Crichton will go into the right centre spot. And then, obviously, leaves a spot on the bench for Addo-Carr, or the other one is Reece Robinson, as we said. Now, Reece Robinson, I suppose the good thing about him, I'm pretty sure I heard Freddie say on the weekend he played in the under-18s team with him and he was picked at lock. So he could play other positions other than just hooker, whereas Addo-Carr is probably a genuine hooker. So that may give Reece Robinson just that upper hand a little bit, that he has the ability to play in the forwards.
Where's the change coming for you, Gus?
I just hope Brad Fittler's gone to bed and he's not listening to all this gibberish that they're talking about here and all these people wanting team changes. First rule.
I don't want team changes. I don't think there deserves to be that many team changes.
You just made 4 changes.
There'll be some. I spoke about one bloke.
You don't want team change, you just made 4.
Mate, Tony Staggs out injured and the other bloke's out.
Hang on. One idiot at a time here.
Well, let's go. I'll listen to you.
Yeah, listen to me. I'm an idiot. All right? So, number 1 rule, don't pick your team until the medical next week. If you go trying to make positional changes, we'll bring him in, and then suddenly you get the next Sunday night and 3 others are ruled out. Suddenly you've got 6 changes to the team, and you're going to leave yourself in a terrible mess. What we need to do is get to the medical next Sunday afternoon and see who's available. Number 2, we weren't belted. We were only just beaten. All right? We just need a couple of little changes to our mentality and the type style of football that we were playing. I said on my podcast this week, I felt it was a little too Pantherised. That's not to say that all those Panther players didn't deserve to be in the team. They do. They're the best around. But sort of taking that club combination into Origin can sometimes be dangerous. I've had Origin teams where we had a lot of Canberra Raider players or a lot of Newcastle Knight players or a lot of Parramatta players. You can't just bring your club mentality and your club football into Origin and expect that the opposition won't be ready for it. It was when we freed up a little bit at the back end of the game and played a little bit more ad-lib that things started to open for them. I think that we need to get a lot more out of Damien Cook out of dummy half. I felt he was curtailed by the fact that he had to be getting the ball to the other 3 playmakers. And I don't think we brought Tedesco into the game anywhere near enough. So he did it on effort. He was just running it on tackle 1, tackle 3, tackle 5, saying, here, I'm the captain, I'm trying as hard as I can. But I didn't really think that they were in sync. I think they sort of left it up to the fact Panthers are leading the comp. We've got these great playmakers, they'll look after it. Well, Queensland were ready. You can't just bring club football to Origin football. And I really felt that we bogged down coming out of trouble a lot. We didn't play well on transition. There weren't a lot of penalties in the first hour. A lot of it was kick reception stuff. And it's not easy to play off kick reception if you're not prepared to have 2 or 3 different variations around the way you get the ball out of trouble. And New South Wales didn't do that. They bogged down a little bit. They'll improve with that. They really will. And I think that New South Wales can be a lot better in Game 2. Always say, the losing team learns a lot about Origin. It's up to Queensland now. What can they learn by winning? Can they improve a little bit more to make the task even harder for New South Wales? But right at the moment, I wouldn't be looking for a change. I said last week, the things that I was concerned about is that you know, with the centres that we had and the other players we had in the back row, we didn't have that bullocking bloke who could make a run for himself. Trbojevic was always a point of difference with where he bobbed up on the field, inside, outside support. He was roaming all over the field. Latrell carries his own difference because he can make things happen out of absolutely nothing. We really didn't have a player that could do that for New South Wales. So it had to be crafted, and we just didn't craft well enough.
If Ryan Pappenhausen has a blinder against the Broncos on Friday, is there a spot for him?
What are you going to do? Bring him in for the captain? You can't bring him in. Tedesco was outstanding.
You can't replace Teddy, but is there...
Tedesco was outstanding. He might well be a 14 that you could bring into the game. These are the things that they have to look at, but... Let's get through to Sunday night and see who's available. We don't want 7 or 8 changes.
He's just picked Jake and Latrell. He's made 2 changes.
No, I didn't, because they're not available.
Do we know if Payne Haas is out? How's his shoulder?
They're hopefully going to play. They're hopeful Payne Haas is going to play.
So will he play a club game next week or just play Origin?
The Broncos are hopeful he'll be right.
Okay, so he's okay.
Yeah.